Hello to my post one night sleep reaction to the state of play. I like to do this because I think normally when we watch a live stream, we just want it to be the greatest thing we've ever seen since our children were born, if we have children. But yeah, after sleeping on it, I do think it was a really good state of play. I think I gave it a 7 out of 10 when I watched it live. I'm trending more towards an 8 now. We'll talk about that. And why that is. First and foremost, I really like Wolverine, man. I think Wolverine's going to be awesome. I like that they've gone away from trying to make it this grand open world thing, and they're just going to focus on a linear story and really pack it full of energy, pack it full of blood, gore, visceral fighting. I'm more for that than I am of really trying to broaden it out and just kind of spreading themselves too thin. I think a hyper-focused Wolverine kind of ties in with the character, right? This high energy, nutty, like energy ball of fists and claws just everywhere. And I think that's kind of suits that environment. But I think everyone expected Wolverine. I really wanted to talk about the stuff we didn't expect. And though you could argue that the jury is still out on the God of War game, which we'll talk about more in a minute, and I have some thoughts about and really where that game could possibly exceed the previous God of Wars, but also where it could possibly fall flat. I think there's potential for the story to like emotionally, in fact, you know what, let's just talk about it now. I think there's a chance for God of War, Laufey, I can't even say the name properly, to exceed the previous God of War entries purely on an emotional basis, because the story, obviously the first story is about father and son, but this story telling about the death of the mother and her journey through what is presumptually some afterlife or hell or whatever it may be, and maybe her acceptance of death, her acceptance of leaving that world. I think that's a really deep story, and if the writing is on point and if the emotional beats are on point, I think it could be pretty special, man. I won't lie though, when I first saw it, I was a bit like, God of War. If the combat's good enough, and by the way, all those people who were like kicking off about the cube and the sword, knowing these writers, I think there'll be a little twist there with the cube. I think that'll be something else. That's just my take on it. I hope it's not just a cube randomly headbutting things for the whole game, because that'd be a little bit odd. But no, God of War, the initial reaction was, okay. Now I'm like, okay, thinking about the story, thinking about where they could take that story, how heartfelt it could be. I do think there could be something really special there. And then let's talk about Rayman. I thought Rayman looked really special. I think the animation, the colors, the level design, just the way it's portrayed to the player is like super. It gave me like How to Train Your Dragon vibes, the animated version. It looked super cool. Is it something I would buy and play? It would depend on how much time I had. It's not one of those games I would go out of my way to play. But for fans of 2D platformers, for fans of Rayman is a classic series from when I was a kid. I think it looked really good, man. I think that was a pleasant little surprise. And on to Kemuri. Kemuri was a nice little surprise as well. First of all, 3-player co-op. I think it could be one of those games that has a really niche following, or if you have friends who are really into Japanese culture, I think this could be something you would enjoy doing together. And I'm all for extravagant, extroverted game producers, so yeah. I thought Kemuri looked decent. I think it's one to keep an eye on. And next up, we have Tomb Raider. I gotta admit, when I first saw Tomb Raider, I was a little bit like, I wasn't quite paying attention to it. I was like, oh, Tomb Raider. And it totally passed me by. This is a remake of the first Tomb Raider. And now I am all in because it looks incredible. Like, graphically, it looks amazing. Look, any teenage boy who grew up in the age of original Tomb Raider fancied Lara Croft, right? If you say you didn't, you're lying. So yeah, like to play as this OG Lara Croft in the levels and seeing that, when I saw the Panther, I was like, oh god, that's like the first game, obviously because it is the first game. Yeah, super stoked for that now. That is high up on my list. I think February 12th is the release date for that one. It looks gorgeous. I mean, graphically it looks amazing. Animation wise, looks fantastic. And the original game's a classic, man. Like, it's an absolute classic. But unlike the teenage version of myself, I won't be scouring the back of magazines for a cheat code that lets me play with her nude. I've grown out of that now. And then we had my game of the show. Well, my surprise game of the show, in my opinion, was Lost Wild. I'm a huge Dino Crisis fan. I've made no secret of the fact that Capcom should be remaking Dino Crisis. This looks like a first-person survival horror Dino Crisis game, and it looks fantastic. I will definitely be playing this. It looks awesome. Can't wait to see more of it. It was my surprise of the show, and I think people should be very excited for this. If you like Dino Crisis, man, this is where it's at. It is coming 2027, so not quite a game for this year, thankfully, because it's too busy this year. But yeah, it looks good. Then we had Phantom Blade Zero. They didn't announce the release date, which I thought had already been announced. Are they going to change that release date? I don't know, but Phantom Blade Zero obviously looks good. I think everyone knows it already looks awesome. I don't need to say much more than that. Editing this video, I've seen that the Phantom Blade Zero has actually been delayed to October the 29th from September the 9th. But that's like breaking news, so I just thought I would shove that in here. No Rest for the Wicked announced as 1.0 for October. That's something. I'll be playing it on PC, but yes, No Rest for the Wicked has been on my radar for a while, and they announced the launch date for October. They didn't give a date in October. I'm assuming early doors to escape the Grand Theft Auto window, which everyone seems to be doing, probably around October the 5th, October the 10th, I'd say, something along those lines. And the Onimusha release date, which was great to see, and they released a demo. By now, everyone's probably played it. I think the Onimusha demo's really good in terms of a foundation, but there's not a lot to get your teeth into. However, again, like I'm going to say in my Onimusha gameplay preview, I trust Capcom to get it right. Silent Hill Townfall even. I love Silent Hill. I think the team on Silent Hill know exactly what they're doing. They've got this like way of telling a story about trauma, about deep inner issues, and they've nailed it. I think Silent Hill 2 was incredible. Silent Hill F was incredible. I think this will be amazing too. Sadly, it's coming out at the worst time. I don't know why they've put it on the 24th of September. I would change that release date if I was them. I'd push it back. I really, really would. Also, it's set in a British town, so I mean, Stundriver Hollywood. Stundriver Hollywood like reminds me of kind of, remember the game Getaway? Was it Getaway? No, it's called Driver, I think. But instead you're a stunt driver rather than a bank robber. Looks cool, man. A lot of movie tie-ins. I actually, when the car pulled in, the DeLorean, it said DMC on the front, and I thought it was DMC 6, so I had this reaction. Well, it's just like every incredible car-based movie or TV show. DMC! Oh shit, DMC 6! Nah, they killed it with that. They killed it with that. What? What? It's not DMC 6! Embarrassingly enough. Anyway, it turns out it wasn't DMC 6, as we all know by now. Anyway, in hindsight, after the disappointment of it not being DMC6, this looks cool. This looks very cool. And then we had Ill. Ill has looked incredible since day one. I can see why people think it's not real. If this is real, it looks sensational. Absolutely sensational. That kind of like wavy, kind of weighted combat where the gun isn't, you're not like an elite soldier. Everything feels like very vulnerable. The monsters look gruesome, very scary. All in on Ill. I think most people are. Early contender for 2027 GOTY. Bloody. I don't trust Munfish though. I didn't like Atomic Heart. However, this does look awesome, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Control Resonant, still looking great. PS5 has a 2-day early access exclusive, which I may take advantage of, even though I'd rather play it on PC, but with the amount of games coming up, I can do 10 hours, 2 days on Resonant, and then it'd give me time for Onimusha when it comes out. It'll probably be the play for me. Again, announced for September the 24th. Moving on, we had Until Dawn 2, a really nice surprise, a very cool setting. It's one of those games where I think I'd play with my partner. I think even if your partner doesn't play games, them getting involved in the decision making and then watching it like a movie and then choosing what to do while you play is exactly what we like to do sometimes. So perfect game for me, and I advise if you've got a partner who's not into gaming, get them into Until Dawn 2. They'd really enjoy it. I especially love the bit where she's like, do you choose whether you want to jump by yourself or jump with them, and then the guy like falls and splats his head on a rock. Very, very funny. Yeah, definitely had me intrigued. Yeah, and finally we ended on God of War. Like I said, for that to succeed, I really do think the story has to really hit. Has to really hit to pull up the heartstrings. Okay, yeah, the combat is the more aerial, aggressive, fast-paced, almost like using like a rapier, aren't you? It's like a fencing style combat, super quick, agile, with a looks like a piece of jelly that is your sidekick. I'm intrigued. Not like Get Out of My Seat, amazing, but I'm a sucker for a story that makes me cry, and this story has the potential to make me cry. So yeah, I'm hoping they do deliver on that. That's it. That's my shortened take on State of Play. Let me know what your favorites were. Let me know if you think I missed anything. Other than that, take care. Like, subscribe, I guess. Peace.